Hello, everyone. This is the second class for the course of Social Psychological Perspectives on Health. I am Nobuhiko Goto, and we will be covering the second chapter of the book today. So the title of the second chapter is the Social Identity Approach to Health. So we are here to study about social identity approach, and especially the social identity theory and self-categorization theory, and how they may be relevant to the our health. Okay, so let's start from the several pictures shown in the textbook. So the first picture is a village in the remote hilltop of central Sardinia. So this is a beautiful picture here. And then this village is famous because people, and especially men living in this village, live more than 100 years. Usually, women live longer than men, but not only women, but also men in this village live more than 100 years. And from the interest of this course, what we would like to ask is that why? Why do men in this village live so long and healthy? And then we will shortly answer this question. So before answering the question, let's look at two more pictures that show the people becoming healthy. Okay. So the second one is people gather and go back becoming healthier. The picture is taken in at a mega mala at Ganga Sagar, West Bengal, where the river Ganges meets the Bay of Bengal. So what I want you to notice is that there are a huge number of people in the picture. And then you might not notice, but the air is somewhat polluted because maybe just there are too many people here, and then also there are the smell of smoke, and then also I guess the water is polluted, and then people actually jump into the river, the polluted river. And then this is because the river is religiously important for the Hindu people. So basically this is a place, I mean, this picture shows a Hindu pilgrim. So they come here for religious reason. And although the hygiene of the place is not very good, or maybe frankly speaking, it's really bad, but still people come here and become healthier when they leave. Why is that? You know, the third picture is the image of Australian outback. So basically, this is a very dry, drought area, and then people living here do the agricultural work. So basically, they grow crops, and then you might wonder, why people grow crops here, although the area is so dry, and then it must be so difficult to live here. But as a matter of fact, people living here are very healthy and then very strong, and then you might want to ask, why is it? Basically, people living in this area engage in social activities. They do chat a lot, attend to church services, and they also volunteer their time to community groups. So as you can see, these three pictures depict people living very healthy life, or people experience healthier condition after the gathering, despite of the fact that these situations are the ones that are not usually connected to healthy situations or healthy conditions. And then we wonder, why is it? Why it is? And several factors may be responsible for health. In Sardinia, people living there say that they have spiritual genes. And then you might ask, is it true? Maybe they are referring to biological factor, but do they really have spiritual genes that other people do not have? In India, people gather at Megamala say that they are healthy because of their Hindu faith, because of their religious belief, they are healthy. In Australia, people talk about they have their outback split. They are healthy because of their outback split. And as you can see, the first one, it may sound like a biological factor, and the second one is maybe like social or religious factor, and the third one maybe social. And then from the perspective of this course, we can say that all these elements point to a social psychological term, social identity. So let's look at what social identity means. Social identity is defined by Tashwell as the sense of self that people derive from their membership in social groups. So let's think that you are asked who you are, and then you may say, I'm very easygoing people, or I'm very cautious people, I'm very what else? Maybe friendly or outgoing. Yeah, so there may be many ways to describe who you are, but you could also say that I am a student of Hitotsubashi University, or I am Japanese people, or I am man. So there are many ways to describe who you are, but there is a way to describe yourself by referring to which group you belong. You belong to Hitotsubashi University, or you belong to a nation, or you belong to one of or several ones of gender. Right. So this way of describing who you are based on the groups you belong is the identity. And then this is in particular social identity. And the fact that we can feel social identity, I guess here I mean that you feel social identity. By saying that you feel social identity, I mean that you can describe yourself as a member of some groups, or you feel that you are a member of some groups. And this the fact that you feel that you feel social identity shows that the self can be defined by attributes and qualities shared with other people. When you say that you are a student of Hitotsubashi University, you are basically referring to attributes shared with other Hitotsubashi students. And then you feel that you have attributes that shared with Hitotsubashi University, or you feel that you have some attributes that shared with many other Japanese that Americans, for example, do not have. Right. And then also you may say that I'm man or woman. And then when you say that, you feel that you have some qualities and attributes that shared with your own gender, with people who have same gender. Okay. And then individuals can be also confident or feel good or bad about themselves, not only as an individual, but also as group members. So this means that, for example, when a national sport team win a medal or win a game, like a football or basketball or rugby, and then those people whose nationality is the one who won the game feel good about themselves, although they do not play that sport at all. And then probably they do not contribute the winning. Still, they feel confident or feel good about themselves as a member of that nation. Or more, or even smaller example is that when sports club of Hitotsubashi University wins a game, you may also feel good. Although you are not a member of that sports club, still, as a member of Hitotsubashi University, you may feel good about yourself. And then when they lose a game, you probably feel that you probably feel bad about yourself. Well, we lost the game, you tend to use we sentence when your social identity is salient. Salient means that when your social identity is activated or very how can I say, prominent, not prominent, sorry. When your social identity is very obvious or apparent or very easy to access, Yeah, basically when your social identity is very activated, or when you are more likely or you feel easy to define yourself in using the social identity, we say that your social identity is salient. Okay. And important thing is that this group-based terms that define the self influences psychology and behavior. So in the first chapter, we saw that social groups influence our psychology, and how we think, feel would influence how we would behave. So these by belonging to different groups, you may have different social groups, and depending on how you may define based on which group you belong, how you would think and then how you would feel would be different. And just by thinking or feeling differently, your behavior will be also different. Okay. So going back to the example of Sardinia, India, and Australia. They talk about their genes, they talk about their faith, they talk about spirit, but these elements all point to their social identity. They feel, the people in Sardinia feel that they share the spiritual genes, and this means that they feel that they are a member of Sardinia. They feel that they are Sardinian, okay? And then they feel that they share Hindu faith. And this means that they feel strongly that they are member of Hindu. And when they talk about Australian talk about outback spirit, they feel that they belong to the outback, and then because they feel that they belong to outback, They are more likely to engage in social activities such as chatting with other members of the group or attending to church services that are part of their living neighborhood. And then also they volunteer their time to community groups so that they can support their fellow members of their group, you know. So they may attribute the causes of their health to different factors such as genes, faith, spirit, but all these elements basically indicate that they feel that they are a member of the group, and then they feel that they have the social identity. Okay. So minimal group studies. So this is there is a series of studies done by Tashfeld, and those studies are called minimal group studies. And this is because Tashfeld developed a study design where people can be divided into groups based on very minimal attributes. For example, people will be assigned to groups based on seemingly trivial, meaningless attributes such as do they like Klee or Kandinsky? So these are the names of the painters. And then if you look up, you may find that both paintings are not very interesting. You might feel both paintings are not very interesting. They are somewhat abstract and not so beautiful. And then, but they basically are forced to choose which painting they like. And then those who chose Klee will be in one group, and others who chose Kandinsky would be in the other group. Or maybe they would be told to estimate the dots in the screen. So there will be dots in the computer screen, and then there are lots of dots, and then they will be told that you will see lots of the dots on the computer screen, and then because the time is limited, you would not have time to count each dot. So what you are going to do is that you will estimate how many dots in the screen, and then people would basically guess how many dots there are in the PC screen, and then those who overestimate the number of dots will be in one group, and then those who underestimate the number of dots will be the other group. And in fact, they may not even be divided based on their behaviors or based on their estimations. They will be randomly assigned to either overestimate or underestimate. Or even they would be told that because there is no way to divide you guys into two groups, basically you will be divided into either one group or the other group. So arbitrary random. So these seemingly trivial, meaningless attributes will be only shared. These are the only factors shared by the member of the groups. And then what Tashfeld was interested was whether they would find that these minimal conditions would be sufficient to induce group behavior. So basically, what the study was interested in was that people would be assigned to do a task, which is to assign points. And these points can be later converted to small sums of money. And then, so basically they were assigned to, they were told to assign points to members of two groups, their own group and the other group. So if you chose Klee as you were liking painting. If you like Clay's painting, then you will assign points to those who chose Clay's painting, and you also assign points to those who chose the painting of Kandinsky. Okay, so basically this is the basic procedure of minimal group studies. People would be assigned to two groups, either of the groups, and then they would be divided based on very meaningful, trivial, or minimal attributes. And they will assign points to their own group and the other group. And then what they found that people give more points to their own group than the other group. And then I think throughout this course, I will call own group as in group and the other group as out group. Okay. And this tendency of behavior is called in-group favoritism, meaning that people favor their in-group, although they are divided into groups based on very minimal conditions. Also, okay, so people, I guess it will be obvious if you are divided into two groups that based on some attributes that you feel very important. For example, people who have Hindu faith and people do not have Hindu faith. Then people with Hindu faith would assign more points to their own group, their in-group, compared to the out group. I think this is very obvious because people like their own group. But what Tushel found that even these minimal conditions is sufficient to induce in-group favoritism. This is what Tushel found. And this study contributes to the past literature. And then the way these studies contribute to the literature is that, in the past literature, the answer to why people belong to groups is something like this. A standard economic model would expect that people belong to groups because of instrumental reasons, such as people join groups primarily for what they can get out of them. So people join groups because they can get out of the group what they usually cannot get as an individual. And when in those groups, they act in ways that maximize their personal gain and minimize their personal cost. So people belong to groups and still, but what their primary interest is that maximize their own individual interest, own individual gain, right? However, what Tushel found was that minimal group studies show that people are more concerned about collective interests. So although in the minimal group studies, people who assign points would not benefit, still they assign more points to their in-group compared to the out-group. So they are more concerned about their in-group members compared to out-group members. So this kind of gives alternative view of why people belong to groups. In the past literature, a standard economic model believes or proposes that they do belong to groups for their own interest, for their personal interest, personal gains. But what Tushel showed was that people belong to groups for their collective interest. Maybe more like they behave for their collective interest instead of individual interest. And then Tushel summarized their results in a way that the process of categorizing oneself motivated them to develop a distinct and positively valued social identity. Basically, this is an answer to why people are more concerned about their collective interest over individual interest, and that is because they want to develop a positive identity. People are generally motivated to see oneself as positively as possible. And then by displaying in-group favoritism, they can develop a positive social identity by contributing collective interest of their in-group. They can also develop a positive social identity. Okay, so people belong to groups because they want to develop a positive social identity, and not just social, but basically they want to develop a positive identity. And then, as I said, social identity is the sense of self. So it's a part of self, how people feel about themselves. And then by contributing the collective interest, they can develop a positive social identity. They can make their own group good. And by doing so, they can develop the positive sense of self. And this is why people are more concerned about their collective interest over individual interest. Okay, so I guess I just stop here, and then I will continue explaining what is social identity in the second video.